Okay, hello, welcome back. We are here talking about Brian's favorite piece of art that he's done for the show.
Oh boy,
the Orc War Wagon.
the painting that almost killed Brian.
The painting that almost killed Ben, I think.
Yeah. So we missed the very first part of this painting because I actually did that sky and background in my art class, and I didn't film it. So the very background is already done, so that's why we're starting off at kind of it's already into it.
Also, we only have like 3 data chips for the video stuff, so if it's at my house, Brian can't record himself until I drive it over to his house and give him the chips back so we can plug him into the camera that we have there.
Yes. And also you see here some reference things that I have. On the right is the old steam engine that I built the War Wagon on, and that is a tractor from the late 1800s, a steam-powered tractor, and so I based it on that. And then earlier in the video to your left, I had a book open from Angus McBride, who was one of my favorite artists, and I like his style so much, and that's kind of where I learned how to paint. I never really had painting lessons in art school. God forbid they teach you something in art school. So I am self-taught, my painting, and I base it on a lot of Angus McBride techniques. And he painted many books for the Osprey series over the years. Yeah,
I run into those all the time. So many great reference things for the books and things come out of there.
And so I always think, oh, how did he do metal, or how did he do this sky, or how did he do these backgrounds, and so I reference a lot of that stuff, and his color palettes too. I'm not good with color, so I swipe other people's color palettes. I think I said that in a recent video. I'm a color swiper. I am, and not ashamed to say it.
So how did you do the metal?
I do the metal by mixing a blue-black wash, and I'll lay that down, and then I'll put in my darks, and then I'll paint things depending on if it's rusty or if it's shiny, and various levels of brown and or blue-gray. And then put your highlights on at the end. And always, because metal is reflective, you have to put the reflections of whatever is on the surface. And since the surface is a tan, kind of a tan brown color, then you put those on the metal.
Oh, that makes sense.
And it gives it that three-dimensional look, and you put in your color then into the metal, because metal is always going to be reflective. Back in art school, we had an airbrush teacher that said if you want to learn how to paint chrome, you should get old car magazines and biker magazines. And he said, you look at the chrome, you'll always find the photographer in there because he's reflective in there.
You can't hide it, yeah.
You can't hide him. So and that was a good lesson to learn. So and that I never forgot that, and it always helped me. I guess I should paint my face somewhere in this. You can always find the artist and all that metal.
You see Snowdy in the reflection of the cowcatcher out front about to run you down.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And here we're painting the claw here, and it's dragging on the ground. And so what I did was make the bottom of it fuzzy so that you couldn't really see. So it looks like the thing is in motion, and that dust is being kicked up.
Yeah.
So the top of it's very focused and clear. The bottom is left fuzzy on purpose to give it a sense of motion. So, and then putting in the smoke, I use a lot of what's called dry brush, and that's to give it that chalky, misty feel.
What's dry brush?
Dry brush is when you have more paint and less water in your paint on the brush, and you can just kind of run it over the paper a little bit, and gives you a kind of a misty look, or and it depends on how much paint you have on it as well.
And this was a painting that took you a really long time.
Yeah, the painting altogether took me 3 days to paint this thing. It was pretty brutal, and this is a very large painting. You can see it's at least 11 by 17 size.
Yeah, I remember you texting me angry things.
Yeah.
As soon as you would turn this camera off, you would send me angry texts. What are you doing to me, Ben?
Yeah, you're trying to kill me, Ben. So, but people really loved it. I've had, I don't know how many emails and stuff I got from people saying, oh my gosh, that War Wagon is just crazy.
Yeah.
They really, really loved it. So
yeah, and so you created it out of a number of different real things.
yes, I took that steam engine first, and then I used that boiler, and then I built the thing around it. I wanted something that kind of looked like a World War I tank,
Mm-hmm.
and I found one that had this kind of long front and a sloped back, and I thought, yeah, we'll put that around there, and worked it around the boilers, and then I put little portals where you could shoot crossbows out of.
Yeah.
And you wanted that crazy that arm on it.
Yeah, the claw arm.
Yeah, the claw. And I thought that was a fun thing. And then there's a ballista up on top.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the cow catcher on the front, which is basically just a couple of scythes that'll just, you get hit by that, it's all over.
Yeah, exactly. When I was writing the piece for it, I used the measurements of a modern-day armored personnel carrier to kind of come up with the size that I wanted it to be.
And also, there's a little bit of Mad Max Fury Road type of stuff in here. I personally did not like the movie. I know all my friends will hate me because I don't like that movie. But the vehicles in there, I did like those. Yeah. Those were amazing. And the scenes of them just racing through the desert. And I kind of wanted that look. And then to show how big it was, I needed to have characters and things around it so you see how big this thing is. And so that's why I have so many horsemen around it, to give a sense of you're in a battle, and also, oh, it's this big.
Yeah.
You know? So
even having the guy on top helps with that too,
yeah,
right?
It does. Orcs are a little bigger than people, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends on what version of D&D you're playing.
No, I think they still are. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it looks really cool. I like the guys in the background. You've got a couple of horsemen on the right there that are kind of charging up, but they're still kind of the same color as the background.
Yeah, and that's a technique that Angus McBride uses quite a bit. It throws them in the background, so one, it makes them easier to paint because they're monochromatic, but two, it gives you a sense of distance, and it gives you that look of it's kicking up so much dust, you know, that it's just speeding through the desert somewhere, and you don't know where it is. Some alien landscape of some kind.
Yeah.
You know?
You have like 4 pieces of reference going on here, right? You've got 2 sketches, you've got one with some guys, some horses and stuff, and then you've got the one that you're using to wipe your brushes on, which is the actual vehicle. Yes,
yeah, the actual vehicle. And to the right, you'll see the reference pictures I got. I got them from rodeo pictures.
Really?
Guys, yeah. Cowboys riding on horses in a rodeo. And one guy shooting a bow from the back. And I just drew the costumes of these guys over the top of them. And they're based upon Persian horse men around the time of I think maybe 1 or 200 AD of Rome.
Yeah, like the Parthians. Those kind of guys.
Mm-hmm. They're based off a little bit of that. Somewhere Asia Minor type of, or Persia type of area. So yeah, and I put them all in glittering scale armor.
Yes. They're still gonna have a hard time with this thing.
Yes. And again, that scale armor is a nightmare to paint too, because if your brush is just a little out of whack, it'll give you a little pointy triangle instead of a smooth little curve to it. And unfortunately, I got that in the back of some of them, and I'm not particularly happy with some of that stuff.
But there's so many scales that if you mess one up, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, that is true too. So
I feel like the errors in the art are the things that you notice and nobody else is going to notice.
I hope no one else notices it.
I don't even know what to look for. So
yeah, and now you see I'm putting on the mediums and the dark colors, and then I'm painting the shiny bits and stuff on at the end, so you can see the horse chamfron now is just really popping out of that horse. And you see you put those little scales on there. And of course, some of those scales are in tan because they're reflecting from the ground.
Or just dirty, right?
Yeah.
Like just from the dust kicking up onto them.
Absolutely. Could be both. It gives a little more gritty reality to it.
Yeah. I like that you washed him in the same color as the truck. That way he kind of, does it make it easier for the reflection?
A little bit, sometimes. And then again, I went through, and at the end I put like a little blue-white highlight around the edges of them. 1, to give it 3-dimensionality, and 2, to bounce them off, pop them out of the that background of that Orc War Wagon there. See, now he stands out against it. He doesn't blend in so much.
Yeah.
But he's not overpowering.
No, yeah, the focus is still very strongly on like the arm and the dude with the ballista in the front of the wagon.
Yeah. So he's framed with that rope and stuff too going through it. Gives a nice sense of graphic design as well. It only took me a whole week to do this thing, kids. It only took a week out of my life.
And like 2 weeks to sketch it.
Yeah.
3 scrapped versions of the wagon.
Yeah, the front end, yeah. And that's about it, Ben. Here we go. Look at that.
Yeah, the Orc War Wagon. Awesome. Well, thanks for walking us through it.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.